there, it's Brian Sebastian. Movie Reviews and More, Women on TV.tv, iTunes 247 out of Franklin, Tennessee, and the Worldwide TV Network. So, show number 2, back in Hollywood at a new studio called the Mike House Studios. So, old friend, teacher, award-winning, we have to go all the way back into Mike's arsenal because he deserves that, obviously, for all the stuff that he has done. The one and only Mike Szymanski.
Hey.
And obviously, Nonstop Terri Marie back for our second show.
Hi, guys.
Which is good. Mike, let's get into you.
Uh-oh.
Let's talk about all the stuff that you've been doing because you just came back from a weird trip. But before that, let's give everybody an idea of what you've done when you first got into teaching journalism, before you started doing stuff for USA Today Network.
Yeah, USA Today and the Atlanta Constitution, and I was covering crime when I was right out of school, covered the Atlanta child murders for the Atlanta Constitution. It was pretty amazing. And then when it came to LA and for the Los Angeles Daily News as a investigative reporter and covered amazing stories there, the space shuttle explosion and the first one, and some other really big stories. And then wrote a lot of award-winning series about the homeless. So way back, the homeless was my beat before it became the topic, and it's certainly still a problem here in Los Angeles. And then became an entertainment writer, and that's when we met, almost, 20 years ago or so? Or?
More than that now.
Yeah.
I mean, time goes quick.
We covered a lot of Oscars together. I know I covered at least over 20. I have all the the passes on my wall. So
I remember going to Terry. I remember going to his house once, and he's had these passes that went out here. And for years, we all saved all of our passes because people wouldn't, we just did. People wouldn't remember or think about you did these things. Yeah, here's one right here. No, you didn't. Yes, we did. Here's this one right here. And it's one of those things. I always go back to when you were teaching journalism at UCLA school.
Yeah.
For all those up and comers before the .com era came on.
Yeah.
But before that, you were always doing a lot of one-on-one interviews for USA Today.
Yeah.
After you moved from Atlanta, I've totally forgot that you did the child murders and all that stuff. And then I'm surprised you didn't cover Charles Manson.
Well, I was not old enough. I mean, I did just turn 60, but no, I wasn't out here during that time. But my really good friend Linda Deutsch is the AP reporter who covered Manson and actually knew him personally.
Wow.
Yeah. And O.J. Simpson, she was an amazing reporter. She got to know O.J. pretty closely as well.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Talk about when you were teaching, because we're in a whole new era of people wanting to be famous for 15 minutes these days.
Yep, exactly. Social media.
Exactly.
You know what, and I don't get it. It's a problem, I think. It's really a problem because everybody wants that 15 minutes of fame, and they think they can do it. And for every person who wants to be a social influencer, there's probably 100 who are not going to be. And I don't know how anyone does it. I really don't. But I guess it's a lot of work. I mean, I know people who are really talented who are trying to be and get into that whole thing and try to get the house next door that's sponsored by. We up in the hills where my partner lives. There's a guy 2 doors down who's having somebody pay for him to just be there and live there, and it's really crazy. I don't know how you do it. I'm trying to get somebody to do that for me.
It's never too late, I guess. But here's the thing. I've always said this. Anybody, just because you have a smartphone doesn't mean you know what the hell you're doing, and that doesn't make you smart.
Yeah.
Because everybody's got a phone on it, but that doesn't mean you know how to shoot it.
No.
Terry will tell you, I probably take bad pictures, and I'm looking at them. They're not that bad.
She does tell me she could take bad pictures.
I know,
but she knows how to fix them.
But I know how to fix them.
She knows how to fix them, and she.
Well, women know how to doctor it up things.
No, it's about lighting. I don't do catfishing. That's we talked.
I didn't even know about that until we did our last show.
Brian doesn't know about catfishing when girls get on there and they use all these filters. So then when you see that, there's a joke where the Instagram people do not look like they look in person because there's filters that you can change your nose shape. Like, did you see that thing? Can you see the thing with Khloe Kardashian, where there's a picture of her on Instagram? She's completely changed her face. So people are like, oh, she had this surgery. No, she didn't have surgery. She used Facetune. And it's like, to me, it's like crazy because like when people meet you in public, and if you're, let's say if you're going to do a red carpet event and you want to be a social media influencer, don't you think you should look like your picture when you show up on the red carpet?
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah.
So yeah, but I mean, I'm good at like just kind of fixing lighting, and then maybe I don't know. It's mostly the lighting in the pictures, or angles that sometimes or just crop it so you look better.
Well, my celebrity story about that, which you say the lighting is, when I interviewed Catherine Zeta-Jones, and I was totally stunned by her. She was just so beautiful, and it was in a hotel room at the Four Seasons, and she was, backlit a little bit, but it was, and I just was. She could tell I was stunned, and I was like, "You are as beautiful as you are in the movies." And she said, "Darling, it's the lighting." And and it was because she actually had lighting, around that was made her just look a little bit more luminescent than she is. When she's pretty luminescent anyway. But
exactly.
Yeah.
Talk about a lot of things because you did a lot of those one-on-ones, and some of these people aren't here anymore, unfortunately. And it's very, very sad because now it comes back to dating us. But again, it's almost like you're growing up. And the world is getting older now, or the world is changing.
We're getting older.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You just had your birthday.
Yeah, 60.
Oh God, mine's coming up.
60.
And I'll be 60. Well, I've always said this. Once the year turns, I'm that age.
Oh.
I don't even wait till the month anymore because I just don't care.
So when do you turn 60?
In like 2 weeks, but I've been 60 since January 1st.
Oh, so we're like the same year.
Yeah.
That's cool. I didn't know that.
I know. That's why we do interviews.
I always thought you were way younger. You just
no, it's the makeup when I have makeup.
It's the lighting.
I know. It's the lighting. It's the makeup. Providing I get the right person to do my makeup, because I've had someone who did my makeup who didn't know how to do black skin.
Well, you also surround yourself with fun people, so that's important to keep young.
Well, they make me laugh.
That's
most of the time.
Yeah, well.
See, I'm looking at her.
Yeah, she's making you laugh.
I'm easy. I like to make people laugh. I get up for that. That makes me happy to do that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I have my moods, but.
Yeah, you do. But go back to this. Go back to when you taught journalism at UCLA. Yeah. Because you were there for how long?
25 years.
Exactly. And then the last couple of years, things started to change, and you kind of got out at the right time.
You want to tell me about, you want me to talk about how pissed off I was about the kids? They were so uppity and thought they knew better.
Exactly.
And, I just couldn't deal with it. There was a generation of kids that were just so confrontive and so didn't respect what I had to tell them, and they were just. It was crazy. I was really I can't teach these kids anymore. They were challenging, which is good. I mean, it's good to challenge your teacher and stuff like that, but to do things simply when I'm trying to tell them, it's better to interview somebody in person than it is on a phone or through Zoom or something like that. And they're like, no. And I'm like, yeah. Because there are things, and I would give them very specific examples, like when I interviewed Natalie Cole at a recording studio, and she got on the phone with her kid, and I used some of that in the story. And you would never have that if you were on a Zoom chat, with her. And you're I forget who else, interviewing Tom Bradley, and you see pictures on his desk or things on the wall, and you don't get that opportunity unless you're there and in person and able to see them and smell them and touch them, although now you can't do that anymore.
Well, and I always say this, it's better to do that interview one-to-one, even if it's 6 feet distance or whatever the case is, because you're going to see something that may be that altitude. They may not be in the mood to do it. I've actually done an interview for some of my friends on the adult side because they didn't feel like doing it, and they were sitting right next to me.
Yeah.
Oh, ask Brian, he knows what I like.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, this interview's about you, it's not about me.
Yeah.
And they're asking her the question and I'm answering. How bizarre is that? So when it goes back to that, even if it's for Terri, I'm saying I want them to interview her. If you have to do it over the phone, that's one thing. But I don't want it to be a written interview. That's not fair to you because you have a story to tell.
Yeah.
That's just lazy, and it doesn't allow for follow-up questions. It's lazy, lazy journalism.
Yeah. So when you left that, and then you're still going to, we were still, when we used to go to the movie theaters, because we can't go now.
Oh, my God, yeah. When are we ever going to go back?
I know, I don't know. We're talking about this other show about drive-through is basically all we, have right now. But I mean, I miss the theater too. I just miss entertainment.
I used to love drive-ins. I mean, in Florida, we used to just go, you bring booze and everything, and it's just like, we were teenagers even from that time on. But the double features at the drive-in was just so much fun. And
exactly, it was always fun to see the kids out there playing in the little playground area and stuff like that. It was just like a whole another world. What is everybody doing now? Going to the drive-in.
But I don't want to see.
I
don't want to see Tenet at a drive-in.
It's not the same. It's not the same. Yeah.
No, right?
But back when drive-ins were, because I went to drive-ins when I was a kid with my parents and stuff. But it was different because, now you've got all these blockbuster movies with all these effects and stuff, but it's not going to be the same in a drive-in theater.
No.
So.
Unless it's like Close Encounters of the Third Kind or something, which is that's about space, and you see space in the background too. But I can't imagine going. I don't know when I'm going to feel comfortable going back in the theaters. I know there's some theaters open again. I don't know if in LA.
Do you know which ones are here?
I don't know. I don't know. I haven't checked. I just got back from my trip, so I don't know what the deal is. But I'm still fascinated with what's on Netflix, man. I am blown away by that new series Away with Hilary Swank.
I've seen 3 episodes of it. It's very interesting.
So good. I didn't want to see it because another space, but it's great. It's really good. And Josh Charles is her husband, and it's really world class.
Set it up what the synopsis is, because a lot of times Netflix will introduce something. I don't know if it's on a Tuesday, on a Friday, or sometimes on a Sunday, and I'm looking at these things. Okay, what's new coming up? Pre-COVID, during, and now. With this, you don't even know when it's coming on. It's just you turn it on. It's like another series. And the first thing I look at now, how many episodes is it? Am I gonna watch something that I'm not gonna like? Am I gonna see it through? I'm a completionist, so my whole thing is if I started, I gotta suffer through.
Well, this is 9 episodes, and it seems like it's going to close, but I think it's going to continue on because I think it's really popular.
It is very good.
Yeah,
of what I've seen.
And Hilary Swank won an Oscar. So
she won 2.
Oh, did she? Oh, she's one of the 2, right? Yeah. And it's really it has this very diverse group of astronauts who are going to Mars. And and they have to leave their families for 3 years to go to Mars. And she has a daughter who's just entering her teens, and her husband who is actually part of Mission Control. And she have this very bizarre, diverse group, an Asian woman who is kind of distant from her husband, but she's kind of close to her female Mission Control person. And there's some secret stuff going on there. And then there's this African-American guy who came from Africa and is a gardener. He's the gardener in space who's going to grow plants up in Mars. And this guy it's an international crew. There's just the Russian guy who has the longest amount of space time than any other human being, and then a guy from India. And so all of these people coming together, and Hilary Swank is the first female commander of a mission like that.
It's very interesting. And then, Terry, it's one of these things, if you did see it and you're like going through whatever you're going through, that's one series that I would suggest for you because you'll probably get into it. Okay. You might watch 1 or 2 episodes because of what you do. You don't want to be trapped inside because you're more that outgoing type. But for us, that's me, movie people, okay, so what are we getting now? What are we going to see now? And it's fun because, like I said, I'm not watching stuff on Amazon. I mean, I'm not subscribed to it. I don't want to do Disney Plus. No. Even though I want to see Mulan, but I'm not going to pay $30. And this is talking about the movie whore. Yeah. And I don't want to pay $30. And all of a sudden, I might be intrigued to do the free subscription for a month, for the month of December, just so I can see it. Yeah. I might do that.
And Brian and I have sat through bad movies, and we're the last critics still there, and people are leaving. We'll give anything a chance,
Exactly. But it's one of those things now, okay, because normally, Terry, we would be, the old days, we'd be at Toronto Film Festival right now, or Venice Film Festival, Telluride, and now it's all virtual. The last thing I want to do is sit and watch films that I've never seen before on my computer. Yeah. I've been doing that since I think 2004, when we first started getting screening links.
And Outfest just happened, and I feel really bad because I had all the screening links. I shouldn't even say this, and I didn't watch a single one. I didn't want to. I mean, it's not like going into the theater and having your popcorn and talking to your friends and seeing people you know. I don't want to,
I can relate to that because, some of the screening links that I did get, I'm like, okay, I'll watch it. And then I've been doing so much other stuff that we've been doing, our Zoom interviews, that's the last thing I want to do now is watch a film that I'm not sure about. No, and then I go up, and I've never done this before. I actually was going to watch, with Daniel Craig, Casino Royale, because I wanted to see something that was familiar, I think, or just wanted to just take away from all the stuff that we've been doing, because you've been on a lot of the Zoom shows.
Yeah.
You've been on a lot. 23 weeks, 163 shows, and I've had 7 days off since that. But I was doing other things. And it was like, okay, I don't have to do one show today. And it's a relief because it's a lot to do. On the other hand, we're 6 million views a day and counting. We reached 56,000 views in like a 5-hour period, up from 49. I'm happy about that stuff, but it's like working the garden. You have to obviously keep doing it, or else the numbers drop. And once you see the numbers drop, I'm like, I don't want to go down to 49. I worked so hard to get to 56 for us, I want to get to 60,000 views, and can I do it in 3 hours? Can we do it in 5 hours? And that's bragging points for us because no one else is doing it. And I will challenge anybody. Show me your numbers, I'll show you ours any day. Because we can validate everything that we're doing. And again, it goes back to everybody's got a phone, but not everybody knows how to use their smartphone, do they? I can't do what you do on TikTok. I don't have the time to do it.
Well, I mean, I try to do comedy skits on there. I'm not a dancer because we were just talking about this. I mean, I'll do like some of the dances to be funny and stuff, but it's kind of an outlet for me to kind of show my humor in a quick way.
And it's working.
Yeah.
I couldn't be happier. I like it. I mean, and when you're telling me about how many people, it goes back to the views, not the followers, it's always about the views, that makes me happy. Because you're putting time into something that makes you happy.
I mean, there's people out there who have way more reviews than I do. I've only been doing this for, like 6 weeks, but we'll see what happens, I mean, it's...
Here's what I found out, Terri and Michael. Remember those influencers that got to 1 million followers?
Yeah.
We passed them. I used them as a barometer. I said, okay, you got 1 million followers. Okay, I'm gonna go by views. We've passed them. They're still at 1 million. They didn't go to 1.1 or 1.2. Actually, a lot of them dropped because they're followers. Followers unfollow you occasionally. You unsubscribe, you unlike, but you can never unview or view.
Yeah, that's a crazy thing that I try to not pay attention on my social media because you have a lot of people that will drop, but then you'll get quality followers. So sometimes I'm like, I'd rather those people go because they're not engaged in my content anyway, so why should I have them on there? Why, for a number? I'd rather have, 10 less people and one person that's commenting and interacting with me than, just dead weight. Sorry,
but that's that whole thing. Yeah. Remember when people would say, follow me and I'll follow you back? And then they walk out the door and they unfollow you?
Yeah.
People still try to play that game, because now what they're doing, because of what we are getting, is these people that want to follow you specifically, they do it to women. Now they're doing it to me because of what we have. They try to send a message through DM on Instagram, on LinkedIn, on Holanis, because I've got 49,600 views on Holanis. Remember that site?
Yeah.
I'm going to get to 100 on that because all I do is I put up on shows, all of our shows on 9 different social media platforms, and they click it. So it actually says on YouTube now, you're getting more followers outside of YouTube on other sites. That made me proud because of all the work that we were doing. We're doing all the shows.
So you can see through YouTube your other social media?
Yes, because people are clicking on when I put them on LinkedIn and everything else.
They're going to,
Remember, that's why I said I want the views. I was testing it, and now I know it works. So I've never seen that before. So I challenge anybody, show me that you're doing what we're doing. Because it'll say it in your analytics. But they're not doing it because it takes work. It goes back to what you used to do and then teaching what you know. So now I'm teaching what we have gone through. I'm telling them what we went through when we went to Tennessee to do those 6 shows that we have, but only 3 of those went up. Yeah, only 3 of those went up. And then we did 4 more shows. Only 1 of those went up. But that one that we did, which was the 3rd one, Flex 24 that you gave me, Terri was supposed to be in a monologue at that, and Terri told me about that a year before. 951,000 views and counting.
Wow.
And I counted this. My goal was to get it to 1 million views by September 16th. I don't think it's going to happen, but it will get there by the end of this month. So that means I already have one show that's not 1 million views. That show will be at 1 million views, meaning you'll have one show that you've had that has 1 million views. Terri.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And then that adds to your 3 million views that you've had in the last 5 years of all the interviews that you've done regarding YouTube. That's amazing when you think of it. So that's why I put all these things on other shows. And then when we had what was it, Rachel from?
Yeah, Rachel Mason
Circus.
from
What was the name of the show again? The documentary.
Circus of Books.
Talk about that, because that was an excellent.
Yeah, great documentary about her family who were secretly running a porn magazine bookstore and also producing gay porn. They were, just a regular Jewish couple. Didn't know
they were going to get into it,
and didn't know that they were bringing up 3 kids, 2 of them who turned out to be LGBT, including Rachel, and were slowly coming out. Didn't even know about their coming out process. And the mother, who was a really very strict Jewish person, was kind of against it for her son especially.
And they couldn't tell anybody what kind of business they were in.
No.
Terri. They got into it by accident.
And in fact, the husband got arrested for it at one point. So he went to jail for sending stuff out to the wrong state, I think, at that time. Anyway, what's exciting about it, exciting about Rachel, and I'm still involved with her in her projects, is that she got nominated for an Emmy, but she also could get nominated for an Oscar because she had her stuff also. So there was a story in the LA Times recently that said she's one of the few who could actually get nominated for an Emmy and an Oscar for the same project.
And I think that's great because we had her on a show.
Yeah.
And then so when we had her on the show, Terri, we were talking about this. I think it was, and I don't remember this correctly, either it was the first week or it was the 30 days that it had 1 million views.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it was, but it was like a 28-day period that Netflix does, sort of like how YouTube does. But for us, it's 3 to 5 hours because I can see how everything is jumping in that time frame, not in 28 days. So if it's at 49,000, all of a sudden the next 3 days or 3 hours later it's at 56. That's not 28 days. That's hours that people are watching all of our stuff, which is why I like to go back to all that stuff. So all those people who are watching that documentary, I couldn't have been happy for. And then Mike supplied a lot of the stuff so she could have some content on that.
Yeah, some pictures, the pictures and stuff. Yeah, I actually did some book signings at there too. And she is now working on a longer-term series that Ryan Murphy's involved with, and we'll be doing very small segments on different people in the industry, and I'm going to help her a lot with that.
That'd be good. And if for those people who don't know Ryan Murphy's stuff, but they may know his stuff, but not his name.
Yeah.
So think of Hollywood, the series on Netflix, which is really good. Think
American
of
Horror
Glee.
Story.
Exactly. That's Ryan Murphy.
Yeah.
So when Ryan liked that documentary, that said a lot of things.
Yeah.
So talking about all of those things like that and all those shows. So then we go to the music aspect of Terri. When we can have, because of all the stuff that we're doing, when we can have your friend on, I mean, I couldn't have been happier for you just to see the look on that lit up on his face of Steve Perkins. Talk about that.
Oh, well, I went to high school with Steve. Well, I went to Corvallis, which was an all-girls school in Studio City, and then our brother's school was Notre Dame, and so I actually was a cheerleader at Notre Dame. But I knew Steve was friends with my best. Okay, how can I put this? My friend's brother was friends with Steve, so we used to all hang out together. So after we graduated from high school, I think the first year he was in a band called Disaster. We used to go to the Troubadour and see him play. So I was talking about the old days where we would all.
Was it a disaster?
No, awesome. Well, he ended up, playing for Jane's Addiction. So here he is now.
For Pirates, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, he's an amazing drummer, but it just that's where he got his start. And yeah, so we were just talking about high school stuff, and it was just kind of just brought us back to all those years ago.
And then not this week. I think it's next week. We have part 2 coming up with him, which will be fun. But because of all the views and all the stuff that we've been doing, this is where we can go into Sportamix. So Terri, tell everybody what Sportamix is about, because you're that woman who does the interviews for Sportamix. Even though there's not sports technically going on here in the U.S., outside is still rocking and rolling. So we have a bunch of things that are about to happen.
We still have baseball. What are you talking about? We still have sports. There's just no audience. So,
Yeah, but remember, it covers around the world.
Yes.
So what's going on outside?
Okay, well, SportMix is a platform kind of like Facebook where you can connect to anybody in the sports world, even if you're a soccer mom or you want to, athletes, professional, non-professional. This goes down to fitness. This goes to soccer. This is, surfing. Any sport. This is sport. This is a place where you can connect with other people of your same interest or sport. And collaborate.
So when you think of doing your one-on-one with Lee Steinberg, what was that like?
That was awesome. He's, I was, how can I put the word, like, what was it, what did you say, what would you say the word, like, I was just kind of in awe.
Awestruck, yeah.
Yeah, starstruck a little bit, yeah. So it was really an honor to be able to get to interview him. And he's got like a fantastic story, and he's really a great guy. His daughter's awesome. We got to hang out with her at Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So. I did one of the stories that's on Sportamix about Lee, and you did a lot of research on him, and it's amazing to see what he had, his influence on sports in every aspect. I mean, and the parties that he's thrown, and yeah.
And then Mike, so you wrote about stuff when it comes to Sportamix. Talk about that aspect.
Yeah. Well, I was actually doing these little stories that they're still on the site about people who are involved with Sportamix, but also. Different simple things like how to dribble a soccer ball, how to do different kicks and stuff, how to do the research and find the experts and talk about that. So with the Sportamix help, I interviewed people in the Philippines and all around the world, and that was kind of exciting to talk to the professionals who were giving me tips on how to do these things. But yeah, Lee is just an amazing guy. I mean, Jerry Maguire and all that. He's
who Tom Cruise portrayed him as.
In
Cuba Gooding, interesting.
Yes.
Was in that.
Show me the money.
Exactly.
That famous line.
Yeah.
But also his client signed the hugest deal in football now.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes, and so again it goes back. So again, going back to movie reviews and more, Sportamix with all the stuff that we're doing with our friend Gene. Mm-hmm. This makes all of us look good because we just happen to be at the right place at the right time. And it's not going anywhere. So even when sports were down, wrestling was still going on. One of the girls I talked to, Helena, she's known as Jiu-Jitsu Girl, that I interviewed back in November at the World Jiu-Jitsu Championships in Long Beach. She is now, watch this girl, she is 37-0. She's 13 years old.
Wow.
She has 28 submissions.
Yeah, that was an amazing interview you did with her. I remember that, yeah.
And, later today I'm going to talk to her and her dad. She's looking for sponsorships for stuff. But she's 13.
Wow.
I mean, and I didn't even know that. It's just, I love what she was wearing. I want to get, movie reviews and more, jackets and shirts made from what she has. This company, Vulcan store out of Vegas, but really out of Brazil, makes her clothing for her. And... anytime I don't know anybody who's been undefeated at 13 except for Tiger Woods, but look where he is. So this is where Helena is now. And where is she? She's in Vegas. And I'm in contact with her and her mom and dad.
She lives in Vegas?
Yeah. And she's fighting again. Texas and Arizona is still fighting. And, what is it? Fight to Win is what they call it. And she's got her belt. It's like, and then she signed up like about a week ago. And I told her a year ago to do it. She just finally did it. And it's going to be fun to see where she is. So think of Ronda Rousey. But again, Ronda was never undefeated that way. Not at 13. Mm-hmm. And she's got her documentary. So it's only a matter of time before someone does it on her, So again, these are the interviews that we've been doing. So we don't all get a chance to get together. I mean, Mike, you live like kind of across the street.
Yeah, right up the hill. How
everything is changing in your neighborhood. And through you, I met RuPaul. Look where RuPaul is today, right?
Yeah.
Talk about how you met Ru. Well, whatever you can talk about.
Yeah, I don't know if she would want me to tell that, but no. We asked RuPaul to be one of the judges for a porn show that we had when we were doing the award shows for Aid for AIDS as a fundraiser for AIDS causes. And so we had a celebrity list of judges, like, really famous people, Armistead Maupin and the writer, and Sam Irvin, the director, and RuPaul, and I'm trying to remember Bruce Valanche and people like that. And so with a couple of years that Ru was a judge, I'd get a call in the middle of the night, and it's like, how do we judge cum shot? Do we judge it for distance or quantity or?
But the thing about that is that when I met him, you had a Halloween party at your house, and so
no, my birthday party. I think
that's
it was
right.
My birthday party,
and he was so just quiet,
low key, yeah.
Yes, and I was like, this guy's gonna go someplace, and look where he is now. And that was like 96 or 98, one of the 2 years. Might have been 99. And I still have that photo, and I was like, wow, who would have known? But things do take time. But look where they are and what's up there.
I interviewed Quentin Tarantino when nobody knew who he was either, and he even gave me his home phone number once. And I remember years later I saw him, and I was like, "You gave me your home phone number once. You wrote it on a script for Reservoir Dogs." And he's like, "Yeah, you're not going to ever get it again."
Oh, wow.
I'm going to say that.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm going to say that because I'm like, Brian, I used to have your phone number. Yeah,
Never
not
gonna get it.
anymore.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to say that because people are asking.
That's a good line, actually.
It is a great line. But here's the thing.
It's like,
my
you're
friend
not important
John
enough
Stewart out of Florida, he directed something. Actually, I think it's Action USA, and then Quentin liked it. So it's going to be on Netflix, endorsed by Quentin Tarantino. So Quentin called him about a week and a half ago.
Cool.
And John is how he gave me Nathasha Rumbos out of Florida, who uploads all of our stuff. And then what came from that was people forgot that he was the director. He used to direct the Power Rangers, and he was a stuntman, but he also was a songwriter. And I met him on the other side of things, which was interesting. And I didn't know that thing. So the last time we had all got together, it was me, him, and Tony Curtis.
Wow.
That I invited at a CNN party.
Wow.
For all the TNT Turner classic movies and stuff like that at the Beverly Hilton. And I never forgot that. It was like the last time that we were with our friend Tony Curtis, because he could walk, but he was in his wheelchair.
Wow.
And he was just so happy that we came over and paid homage to him because he was an icon. And I was like, it was one of those things where, why aren't more people coming to say hi to him? He may not be here tomorrow.
Yeah.
And 2 years
Maybe
later,
they didn't know who he was. That's sad.
I don't think he did.
It's funny. I always wanted to interview Tony Curtis. Someone Like It Hot is one of my favorite movies. But the only time I ever saw him was when I was at a Hugh Hefner party, and it was one of those parties where the men got to wear these long blue robes and the women had to wear these short little pink robes, and you could change in the pool room and stuff like that. And we wanted to go into the house and go upstairs, and so we were walking upstairs, and we opened up one of the doors, and there was Tony Curtis kind of in his underwear, and he was living there. I didn't know that, but he was like, if you're going for the party, it's downstairs. You don't come up here. And so we were like, oops.
Oh, that's funny. Well, here we are in Hollywood, and it's definitely not the same.
No.
Things have changed a lot. I don't see one-on-one interviews. I don't see red carpet interviews. This is the best that we'll have to be able to do, which is why I wanted the studio just in case. And it's kind of sad that way, isn't it? It's like what we did back in the day. Unless you got video of it, it didn't happen, right?
I don't know how it's ever going to come back.
I miss red carpet so much. I was just, I was on Victoria just on the earlier show. It's just like one of the things I miss the most. It's just, I miss seeing the outfits. I just miss, talking to the, actor, singer, whatever.
And getting
the
close
project.
to the
Yes,
actors.
yeah.
You're there with your microphones in front of them.
It's not the same interviewing people on Zoom. It's just not. It's just weird.
But look what's happening. I mean, Batman was shut down because Rob Pattinson got tested, and he tested positive for the COVID, and they're too afraid. Celebrities are going to be too afraid to have any contact with journalists or the average person. They're not going to be signing autographs anymore. Forget about it. None of that's going to ever happen again.
I know, and I've been talking to a lot of the publicists too, and a lot of the publicists are afraid of not having their jobs because half of it is going out to the events with your client.
Well, and they've already been losing their jobs because so many people have taken to social media and doing their own stuff. The Kardashians and Ashton Kutcher, I think, was the first one who was like, forget my publicist. I don't need it. He's on Twitter and they're doing their own thing and telling their own stories. They don't need a publicist.
Yeah, they're doing what we used to do.
Right.
Right. It's kind of funny.
Right.
And so that's why, even when I see people on the fitness sites, there's one thing, again, it goes back to this. Yes, anybody can do a Zoom interview, but can anybody really do a Zoom interview and get the numbers that we get? The answer is no, because you had to go outside your realm to develop it. And it's not the same thing as...
Well, you have to know how to ask the questions, too. That's one of the things.
Thing, which is what you used to kind of teach when it came to print. And I learned in a radio room. Terry, we would be in our radio roundtable rooms, and Mike would come in. I would go into the print room, and then we didn't really... not me, but they didn't. The worlds didn't mix. They didn't like it.
No.
Because in a room like this, there was no pouring of water. The air conditioning would be off. No chewing ice cubes.
And you couldn't even laugh. You couldn't even laugh.
And if you interrupted, like or the stairs would go like this, and they would be daggers saying, "Who's this person? What did you just say?" Because you would have to edit it out.
But Brian and I knew that when one or the other of us was there, we knew that would be a room where good questions are being asked and people would follow up. So, it wouldn't be like, it's all about me. I got to ask the question. I got to ask my question. But we'd listen to each other's questions and then follow it up. And so it was a smart.
Which is why people like our shows, because they say, "Oh, you don't interrupt. You let them talk." I learned it from that's the responses that I get. That's why they like it, because I'm like, in my mind, that's just terrible. I didn't want to do it today because I might have done 5 shows in one day, and then 3 the next, and then 2 after that, and then 2 before that. You put it together, that's like 15 shows almost.
Yeah.
And it's a lot to do to keep your energy up. It's like you having, one day you did 42 interviews. I counted on the red carpet.
I did?
Yes.
Well,
and she still looked this great?
Well, once I get going, I don't, I just
you would just what you were doing,
now.
you were sticking your mic out and you would turn around and be someone else. And then you turn this way and then you turn around and be someone else. I counted after a while. There was 42.
I never realized I did that many. I don't know. But I just like to talk to people. So I'm
and then you were doing like every 3 minutes, but, you're feeding off that energy or whoever it may be. And some people, it's their first time, but you also made them feel comfortable, which is really important.
Well, I think, too, it's when you're interviewing people, they're kind of sick of the old stale questions, and no one wants to hear the old stale questions. So I kind of try to make it more about them and their personality than like, okay, so he's your dress by. You know what I mean? It just gets boring. And like me watching it, like watching other interviews, it's generic, it's boring, and you want something different. So I try to bring that to the red carpet. So I think that's why I can get a lot more out of people sometimes. Just because.
And then there's also some people saying, "Hi, I'm interviewing Tom Cruise," and they're like this.
Yes.
Because they want to make sure the camera's on them, and then they turn around. No, it's supposed to be the other way around.
Well, yeah, and that's one of the things I was always teaching is to try to get the person that you're talking to out of their pre-recorded tapes that they already know, I'm going to answer this. No, you got to get them think. And if they stop and actually think about your question, you've got them. Mm-hmm. So you're going to know you're going to have something different.
Exactly.
Mike, give your social media links.
I have books on Amazon, Amazon Prime, Mike Szymanski, Szymanski, and also under Mickey Ski. So I have my books there that you can either read on Kindle for free if you're a part of Amazon Prime, or you can buy them.
And your Dachshund books have been doing well, right?
My Dachshund books have been kind of going all over the country. It's kind of interesting. We have a lot in the Philippines, or people are reading them, and one of my friends said, no, they think it's a cookbook. But I hope that's not the case.
Exactly. And then Terri?
Terri Marie nonstop on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and then my website is terrimarieofficial.com.
So the other thing about things would be, you just came back from a trip. Talk about that weird experience.
Well, just quickly, I needed to disappear. I needed to unplug. I was really feeling overwhelmed by the negative news and personal stuff that was going on, and me turning 60, and I just needed to get away. And I had planned this big 60s party where I was growing my hair out for it, and I had a club that I was going to rent, and celebrities were going to come and perform, and I had an Austin Powers impersonator, going to time warp people into the club. Anyway, none of that happened, and so I just went.
That's disappointing just thinking about it.
Yeah, it was going to be a
fun.
great party. I had planned it for 20 years, literally.
Wow. And then, so you just decided, okay, I can't have a party. I'm going to go party by myself.
I just, I had a glass of wine that actually the restaurant I was at, I told them it was my birthday. They gave it to me complimentary, and I just had a nice meal by myself and toasted to myself. And I was up at the top of Yosemite on Glacier Point watching the sunset. It was beautiful.
What was that like, just getting out of Hollywood? What was that experience like for you, just to leave?
I didn't know where I was going when I left.
He was counting down on how many days you would sequester. What was the last day before you left?
Yeah, I forget what day it was, like 162 or something like that. But I just disappeared. I said, I'm disappearing, and that was my last post. And so I left for 2 weeks. I didn't tell anyone where I was going.
Yeah, I mean, I knew you went someplace.
You tried to call me a few times. I didn't answer.
Yeah, I just at that point I figured he just needed space just to get out, and I could understand that. I just wanted to make sure that my friend was okay, because we have a lot of people out there that aren't okay.
Nah, he was trying to get me on a show. That's why.
Well, maybe that too, because here you are. So, but that was
thank you for checking
that was
on
the thing, because again, everybody needs to do that. For me, I was not. Now everybody knows I live in Vegas, but for the longest time I didn't tell people. They didn't need to know. I would just go to the house, do my thing, and then come back, do the events. But it was one of those things where, last night, it was the first night that I went out, and I had takeout at a restaurant.
Yeah.
And I had to remember when the last time I had it. I wanted fried rice.
Yeah.
I just wanted something different. If I'm on my Segway, I can't even go to a fast food joint to get in to go order something because you're not in the car. Yeah. We can't serve you. And I'm like,
really?
What?
On a Segway they can't?
No.
Oh.
It's a vehicle.
They denied me, and I got pissed off.
Really?
If I had something, I would have thrown it at them. I was that upset. I'm like, what are you talking about? I can order in line, and I could scoot up.
I would think it's still a vehicle. It has wheels.
It does.
Yes.
Yeah, that's so weird.
I got permission. I even got permission when I took the Amtrak, because it's like my Segway is like the photobomb person. So Segway loves the stuff that I'm doing because I put them in weird shots that no one's ever done.
You're not on the railroad tracks.
No, not yet. I mean, I haven't jumped
yet. I
don't
think the Segway can go that fast, so be careful.
But they actually gave me permission to take it on the Amtrak. Oh. You can't take a hoverboard on it.
Yeah. Well, when you said on the Amtrak, I was imagining you on the railroad tracks on the rails.
Well, I haven't tried that
following
one yet.
you behind you.
I do hang out with a lot of the skateboarders.
Don't do that.
That's not safe.
It's not fast enough.
But it's not like I didn't think about jumping it. I did think about jumping it, but I would have had to have built a little ramp, and then I wasn't going to do all of that.
No. Don't do that, Brian.
It is AI technology, so I can't screw it up. But it was one of those things where there's no rules for it. So if I'm in the subway, I'm riding it in the subway, and I take photos. Yeah, and then some cops look at me and like, that's strange. Not only is he black riding on it, he's riding on it in front of us. And then the other thing is, I'll take a picture of the Lumo riding the subway by itself, and people, they're looking at it like this. What is this thing? And where do we get it? So Segway likes those things. So it's no different from having the restroom kits. You do something different when the people like it. Like this. I have this, what is this? It's when the power goes out, I can plug my laptop into it. It's called a Go plug.
Cool.
I have portable solar panels. So am I concerned about the power going out? Nope, because I got my own power. I can power my Subway into this. I can plug 4 phones in this.
Wait, your Segway can plug into that too?
Yeah.
You can charge your Segway in it? Wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I have this. I put it in my backpack. I have stuff on the top of it.
And these days with the power going out in California all the time?
That's why I got it.
God.
I'm prepared for everything. I have portable solar panels that go on my backpack. When I put it on, it'll be recharging. And it folds out like this, and I have a small one, so I can just put my phones on and stuff like that. And it's called, I think it's Elias, E-L-I-O-S. And I found them at the CES show.
That's pretty cool.
So things like this, the restroom kit, little hand sanitizer, the cords, anything. These are the things that I'm always looking for. I'm always looking for anything that's environmentally friendly and sustainable, because I want them for us, for you, eyelashes, dresses, skirts, cute booty, who'll be coming back, in the next 2 weeks. They'll be here because they can't go and show their wares at any convention. There aren't any conventions.
No.
And I've been talking to all these CEOs around the world, and they're telling me stuff that they haven't even announced yet because of our numbers. So when I say there's not a convention going on, those workers aren't working at those conventions. So that's how I know that, But so for us to go to the Olympia, it's a good thing because we can still go where a lot of other media aren't going to be invited to go. And, I had my friend asking me about what's going on with the Oscars. I look at it this way. The month of October is really the month of August because the Oscars are pushed back. There is no CES show. There is no NAMM show. There aren't any gifting suites because they're not going to have those celebrities come. They're just not going to come.
No.
The ones that know better just want to go out and wear something, but they're not going to come,
They're
And
certainly not
that's
going to
kinda
be
sad.
shaking people's hands and looking,
No.
and being schmoozing around with people. No.
No, not at all.
They want to be interviewed by a million people, and it's not.
It's not safe. It's not
Yeah.
safe. There's going to be another wave.
Yeah, we're going through those things, so that's why I always say, with people that are going on with everything, if you see someone without a smile, please give them one of yours because there's a lot of people suffering from anxiety and depression, and some of them can't get away. I was glad that you got a chance to go get away. I mean, I'm glad I got a chance to go outside the house.
Yeah.
Because I spend more time in doing all the shows with 3 laptops set up, my one phone now, but my 2 phones and my tablet, and it's a lot of stuff to do day after day after day. I'm almost on your timeline of being sequestered with whatever days. That's the one thing I didn't want to keep track on because I knew I wouldn't be doing more shows, Terry. I would have said, this is it. We reached our, I'm happy where we are. But no, we will get to 20 to 25 million views a day. Show me someone outside of a corporation, not on network TV, that's doing that. There isn't any. Show me someone who's got to have 850 million views a day. For the month. No one's doing that. We're beating network numbers because once you've lost that audience, you can't get them back. There's just not anything to do that. One final time, social media links, and then what do you want to happen between now and the end of the year? What would be your wish, your goal?
I want a vaccine that's safe. That's what I want. I'll be the first one in line.
That's good. Terri?
Well, obviously, I want this COVID thing to be over, but I'm looking for it. I am doing a fitness show November 21st. I don't know if there's going to be probably not an audience, but Fitness Universe is coming up, so that and a vaccine and everybody be healthy. And
so with that, for Mike Szymanski, Terri Marie, I'm Brian Sebastian. This is Movie Reviews and More, WomenOnTV.tv, IT247 out of Franklin, Tennessee, and the Worldwide TV Network. And so, like I said earlier, if you see someone without a smile, please give them one of yours because Mike and Terri, there's a lot of people out there that need them, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
We will see you next week.